ladies and gentlemen, the books was in. The books are in. Yep. They in. They're here.
Log in to KofiPaisaTV.com and get Spears of the Mossy Volume 1 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, from Spears the Pen Volume 2 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, Spiritual Combat Volume 3 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, One Night Before Bed by Any Harret Shun Calfunny, Kalawa's Trip to the Motherland by Kofi Paisa, From Cocaine to Consciousness by Any Harret Shun Calfunny, As I Learned, We All Learn by Kofi Paisa. Also, if you want fresh merch, go to our online store, Family Connect Apparel, and get all the brands. Also, get our 54 deck of quiz and educational cards, available now on KofiPaisaTV.com.
ETM Hotel, Rennie, Sean, welcome and peace. My name is Sean. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning into Kofi Paisa TV. Before we get started, man, I just want to say shout out to everybody who may view this in the archives and the people that are live in the chat. Peace, Robert Rand, Lamar Pope, I see you in the building. The brothers, they can get access to the link real quick. Sute, you can give it out or not. However, I do want to go over something real quick. Jama Mboka, brother Damo, what's good? I see people are filing in, so like the show, share the show. You're not affiliated with the channel, you know what I mean? Go ahead and subscribe. Man, look, I'm sick and tired of the stupidness. I am sick and tired of it because it's redundant and it's going over and over it's just to the point where I can't deal with it no more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you try to help people bring knowledge forward, and you keep getting pulled back, or you keep getting thrown off track, or you keep having to rehash old information, or if the people are not even aware of the information that you're talking about, and they want to sit here and argue with you about some stuff. So what's the problem, Sean? What's going on? I just jumped on a live with Sabir, right? I was simply just trying to explain to Sabir that the sister that was talking about religion. The sister that was talking about biblical characters. They shunned Robert Rand because he was trying to gain clarity on what the sister was talking about, who says she's from Ethiopia, who thinks that they just always spoke Hebrew and Arabic. And I'm like, no, these people had languages before Hebrew and Arabic. Well, what did they speak? Fool, you not paying attention? I am simply trying to tell you that they had this stuff before. Any claim to language now is that of a conversion. This is the invasion of Greco-Roman Indo-European cultures on Africa. Then they say, oh, they spoke Aramaic, right? They throw that out there. Oh, they spoke Something else. Run it. Then I threw I threw an African language at them. Oh, I don't know what that is. Well, how the hell, if you don't know what that is, why are you talking about it? And the numbering population, over 24 million people, speak Oromo, not Aramaic. That's the first language in Ethiopia. There's a boatload of them. The Ethiopians are confused, ladies and gentlemen. Enza, Guma, Gura, Jietu, Inor. These are languages. Then they get these pseudo-linguistic language phylums that push out Cushitic and man. Listen, I'm not I'm not into this. Okay? I'm not into this. What I'm into is simply trying to advance knowledge. That is science. That is being scientific. It's where we take what we learned and apply it to our daily lives to help others improve their worldview. Now, when we look at history, we have to go back. We have to remove any biases. We have to look at this thing from a fresh set of eyes. We can't look at this from the West. We can't look at this from the West Africa. We can't look at this from South Africa, Central Africa, Northeast Africa, or East Africa, or whatever. We can't look at none of that. None of that matters. What we have to envision is a continent inhabited with people who were either who were either A, above the equator, or B, below the equator. And neither one of them knew that they was either above or below unless they came into contact with one another and they looked phenotypically different because of shades. The closer you go north, you might see some lighter shades. You might see some light brown skins. You might see some light skins. You might see some fair skins. You potentially might see white. That comes later on. Because the white gene, if you look it up, you can look up something, it's called the white gene, and the blue-eye gene come later. They come 10 to 13,000 years ago. And what we're trying to establish is a foundation to say that the Ethiopian people didn't have to cross the Red Sea. It was no interest. They had no influence in the Red Sea. There was nothing for them to really gain from. They focused on themselves in an amalgamation of different cultures. They were not the same. There were different people, different tribes, different worldviews going on the continent of Ethiopia. This argument continues to fester, and I'm sick of it. We get an Ethiopian sister on the line, and the first thing she says is something about Hebrew and Arabs and biblical narratives and characters. Serves no freaking purpose. None to our people. If we are trying to get them to understand history, we need to get them to understand history from a basic perspective that the earliest Homo sapiens evolved on the continent from other hominid species. They developed eating shellfish and raw fruits and vegetables or nuts. Over time, they began to eat more than other things. Based on their environment, they had to adapt, adjust, and some even mutate. On the continent, take the mutate out. They traveled because when the oceans rose, They didn't know it was an ocean. But when the waters rose and flood and hit, they had to go up and they had to hide. They were hiding in caves. They began to build fires in caves. They cooked over these fires. They did all of these things. They drew images. It could be click. It could be whatever it did, whatever what the earliest languages was. It don't even matter. It didn't come from Arabia or it didn't come from an Indo-European. It developed among the people who was on the continent. And as they migrated out of the south and head east, they began to do other things differently. Why? Because as they got away from their natural environment into other environments, they had to adjust. Nature was trying to kill them. Has always been that way. So they started to develop a different worldview the more they got away from the old worldview. So when they get up to what we want to call Ethiopia or the Horn of Africa, we start to see things develop there. So let's stay right there at Ethiopia. Since Ethiopia was brought up in this stupid discussion and I just so happened to be hard-headed and click on that link, thinking that this brother was going to let me say something this time around, even if I was nice enough to just have a conversation. All I was simply trying to say is that Africans had culture, languages, worldviews before a Hebrew even existed or an Arab. And they did not understand that I was simply saying that continental Africans, whether in Ethiopia, the Congo, anywhere along the Sudan, ancient Kemet, South Africa, it don't even matter. Senegal, Senegambia, these people already had a worldview, deities, culture, languages. They already had things established among themselves before foreign influence. The name of the video, The Invasion of Greco-Roman and Indo-European, is fitting. European influence on Africa is fitting because we're arguing. We're arguing with people who are trying to view this thing from an outside influence and claim its identity. So I'll simply got on this show with Sabir to say, bro, traveling is cool and all. And, it's a good look. But if you know how to disseminate information and research properly, you can validate your evidence and your information based on how you can critique your sources. And then I began to say that the sister who made the assertions was incorrect for bringing those in there when we should be trying to identify with what we had before Hebrew and Arabic. That's all I was trying to say. I didn't say they wasn't there on the continent. I didn't say the people was any kind of shades or anything like that. They were trying to insinuate a biblical narrative on our people. And I simply was trying to just say, no, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we had a language before a Hebrew or an Arab. We had a culture before a Hebrew or an Arab. We had amalgamation of things before any Hebrew or Arab. That's it. I wasn't trying to say nothing else, but some kind of way I was cut off. Let the sister speak. You're not going to be able to get your full thought out. My mic continuously kept getting muted. So then
Where was you at, Sean? What's going on, man?
man, I then tried to be nice enough to go on Sabir's show only to clear up some misconceptions so that they can continue the show and teach that bullcrap that they was talking about over there from his phone and his iPad.
I heard Rasute was saying something about Robert Rand went over there and held it down.
He did go over there. But the lady kept trying to overtalk Robert Rand and he was putting her in a box. He had her cornered in a box, but they kept freeing her. And of course, Sabir is going to control the narrative. And you know, you're going over there thinking that the brother actually changed and hear people out, but he ain't about hearing anyone out because it is not going to substantiate his claims. So when I showed him the book, The Archaeology of Islam in Sub-Saharan Africa, which I'm almost done with this book, he's like, yeah, see, brother, yeah, that's us right there. That's the Berber. This person that's on the cover of this book is not a goddamn Berber.
Not at all, bro. That's what I told him too.
This person is a Hassa. Is from the Hassa tribe, West African. This person is a sub-Saharan African. The book tells you sub-Saharan African, sub-Saharan Africa. They're talking about sub-Saharans. This person is not a Berber. He lied. My mic was muted, so I couldn't get me off. So what I was trying to do was something smart, right? I was trying to go back to the geographical and temporal frameworks to lay out the foundation. Insaul does a good job. He says in the very first chapter, this volume aims to examine the archaeology of Islam in Africa south of the Sahara. Yet this simple statement makes a great deal of complexity, for it suggests that the archaeology of Islam in sub-Saharan Africa is the residue of the uninformed faith from the Cape to Timbuktu. This, however, is not the case. Great diversity is evident, and although key recurrent elements might preserve, African Islam has been subject to historical process. Such historical processes were described by Ray as a history of several phases and types of religion, a history of developing orthodoxy and developing synthesis. The result was not a confused syncretism, but a variety of new religious and cultural synthesis which bear the unique character of sub-Saharan Islam. The importance of this paraphrase quote is that it emphasizes the plural character of Islamic development within Africa. One Islam is structured by the requirements of faith, but numerous local interpretations of therefore once the core prerequisites were fulfilled. He continues a few pages later and he gets into his geographical and temporal frameworks by talking about methodology. He lays it out. He says the establishment of a methodological framework is necessary step in approaching the diverse material incorporated within this study. He says a geographical provision of the material has also proven essential. And for the purpose of discussion, the continent south of the Sahara has been divided into 7 regions, which he breaks them down, and he deals with them throughout the book. They are Ethiopia and the Horn of Africa, the Eastern or Nilotic Sudan, which the modern name of this, and then he says the East African coast, the Western Sahel, the Central Sudan, and then he says the West African Sudan and forest, and finally East, Central, and Southern Africa. In this framework, he breaks down and he goes to Ethiopia and the Horn first because he's looking for evidence for Islam. So he specifically deals in the Red Sea. The Moors claim to be reading this book, but they are not reading this book. And this is why I even had this book, because of a freaking Moor making a claim. And I said, you know what? Let me get this book and let me go in here and let me see what the Moors are trying to insinuate when they pull this book, this source, this person out as a source. He talks about the coming of Islam. It's not when people think that it comes. He talks about the evidence. He goes directly into burial. He looks for animals. Because if you find pigs there, you know it ain't no Muslims around. But if you find tombs shaped a certain way, the way that they buried the dead in Arabia, what's the damn place across the sea? The Red Sea. Right over there in the Middle East. The way they bury the dead there, they deal with it like that. So he's looking for that. But that evidence is established later on in the AD era. It's established like that because they were crossing the Red Sea to do trade. Nothing more, nothing less. It was broker to broker. Them people wasn't even really establishing themselves on the continent of Africa like that. It was very minute. The trade was distant. You hear the term long-term trade, or you hear about Arabs trying to control the long trade, right? But in this conversation, all I simply was implying is that what were we before Hebrew and Arabs? I wasn't taking a shot at neither one of them. I said, hold on, we're confused here. There's a different narrative. You're giving us a biblical narrative of the day. You're giving us the most recent part of Ethiopian history that's not even really relevant in some places in Ethiopia, because they still doing their traditional things and they have forbidden Islam. A lot of them. He brings up Yemen. Bro, I'm talking Ethiopia. What the hell Yemen got to do with Ethiopia right now? So we got to deal with the horn. What was the inception of all of this? Was these people really this, or were they that? We know they willingly accepted some form of Christianity that was later on. All this stuff is AD era. And you putting it on us like you talking history, right? But then you giving us recent history. You're not dealing with the time up until now. You're trying to deal with the feel good stuff to put you, because you need to validate, or you need to position your beliefs right now. So I'm gonna shut up, because I'm really frustrated with the whole process, and I'm tired of it. Like, if we're trying to educate people, man, let's lay out both sides of the argument so the listening audiences can actually really learn. This dude didn't even want to do that. But go ahead, Sutek, because you were listening the most.
Yeah, man, that was the mistake. That was the mistake you made. Thinking he was gonna try to, be sensible about the situation, try to listen to the other side, the opposing side. That's gonna mess the bag up. I told you, bro. He don't care about all that. Like, dude, trying to get to the bag, and if telling you that everybody is a Moor and making you feel good and making you say we was all these people, we did all this and all that, that's gonna make you feel good, and you're gonna want to reach in your pockets. You know what I'm saying? Plus, he go live 2-3 times a day, every single day. So I mean, that I already could see it happen. As soon as I turned on there, when Science with Sean was done, Brother Robert Rand was on there, letting them have it. And he got kicked out at least like 3 or 4 times, muted, kicked out, talked over. Like they moving the goalposts, hopping from this topic to that topic. Like that's what they do. That's the type of more shuffle that dude does every single time. And this is why I only went on there 2 times. The first time I don't have the patience. Robert Rand, bro, and you too, Sean, bro. Y'all way more patient than me. The first time I spazzed out. The second time I was cool enough to start making points, and then I still got kicked out. So it's like, yo, I'm done after that. There's nothing else for me to say. I come in the chat, you know what I'm saying? Tell them this, tell them that. Oh, hop on the panel. Bring it to the cipher. But bro, you really don't want me to do that. So it's all a game, man. It's all a game, and he's not about to let y'all mess up the bag.
Stop trying to mess that man's bag up.
I ain't trying to miss the man money up, yo.
I know what it is, man. I know what time it is over there.
Yeah, but I was just trying to be cordial. You know what I mean? Because realistically, man, people can learn a lot from just correct research methodology. Yeah, it might expose him. Yeah, it might expose him, but oh well. Oh well, it just exposed him.
Oh, grimy.
Yeah, I mean, but we ain't trying to expose him. We just trying to tell the truth.
I mess with y'all.
Hey, the key thing that he do.
I put the link in the chat though, Robert Rand, because you could tell your side of it.
Yeah, hop on, Robert. The key thing that he do though is talk about travel. He put his Cash App up. He got first of all, he got Cash App, PayPal, Zelle. He got every cash transaction type of app dude is on it. And he posting them motherfuckers every live stream. And like I said, he go live 2 to 3 times a day, every single day. So he used that money to travel with. He traveling at y'all expense, bro. And then coming back and insulting you and telling you, yeah, man, these Negroes don't travel. Using that as an excuse is why he got some type of secret magical information that don't nobody else got. I watch dude enough. I've been doing a case study. That's why I'm watching this motherfucker so long. I know all his tactics, dog. That's why I don't come on no more, because it's designed to fail. It's designed for you to fail. If you going against him, if you want to kiss his ass, you can be up there every single live stream. I see it happen all the time.
What up, Sean? What up, Sutek? What up, T'Challa? What up, Setu Press?
Yo.
Peace, peace.
I just was checking y'all out. I heard y'all was talking about some of that more moronic bullshit, some more of that moronic bullshit. I don't understand people, because what I'm reading is lining up with everything y'all been saying, and I just dropped Sean something that I think will help tie up this religious aspect of it. Because it's this religious aspect that they're focusing on. It's the religion that they try to connect to through the book, and this book I just found, Origins of Judaism. Oh my goodness, it's just like bombing them all. It's just basically bombing them all. Like it's basically just showing how they all started in the Middle East, and that is basically a war story, a Jewish war story. That's all we're basically talking about, our Jewish, Greek, and Arabic war story. And we're not even aware of this. So we got a group of people who are trying to tie themselves up through the sub-Saharan slave trade because through father lineage, through the father side, they were able to escape slavery. That was one way they were able to not be slaves through the father side, and by them accepting that parentage or that lineage or that ancestry, it takes away the stigma, but it also gives them a claim to the religion, or a claim to the religion, so to say. You know, it's hella crazy. It's hella crazy that we're sitting here arguing over stuff that has nothing to do with our ancestors, constantly with these people, and they insult us and disrespect us, you know, because we don't want to accept it.
Yeah, man. Where Robert go? Yeah, he dipped off. Hey,
Say
Mika.
what? I didn't hear you.
Hey, Mika, if you feel like somebody on here pseudo, go to link.
Really?
Yeah, she ain't even finna drop the link yet. Just talking. But yeah, man, that's what he do. I don't think Sabir is a different one. He ain't too really focused on on the religious aspect of it. He just straight pseudo. He
But the
just want to say
religion has some,
everybody
but the
more.
religion is very big. You see, you can't just try to claim the heritage without claiming the religion. It's tied up in the heritage. They're connected.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just telling you what he gonna say. He gonna say that it don't. He ain't gonna even want to talk about religion. He said it don't matter. He said all Moors wasn't Islamic.
Some were Jewish. This is exactly what this source is saying.
Yeah, some did convert,
Some were Christian.
but they were no longer Moors, considered Moors then.
No, they were no longer more.
Yeah, the Moriscos converted.
See, that's the trick. That's the trick. It was so much going on in this area at this time that you could be basically whatever you wanted to be as long as you weren't slave. So to shake off that stigma of being a slave, people would convert to anything. You couldn't be a slave if you were a Christian or a Muslim. If you were anything else, you could be a slave. And they did find ways to enslave Christians and Muslims. But the law was those two could not be enslaved.
Yeah, they was people of the book.
They were people of the book.
Yeah,
What
they
up,
said
Robert?
What's up,
wow.
y'all? What's going on, everybody? Listen, can I come back? I gotta run downstairs real quick, man. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna keep my avatar on, but I'm gonna come back. Is that all right?
Yeah. That's cool.
Like y'all don't understand how much all this is like leveled up my research. Like for real, I'll be sitting over here like I really don't have time to do anything but work and research. When I'm not working, I'm studying.
Can I touch
Like
briefly on that little?
the connection and what I'm
I'm
seeing
sorry.
is that
Hey,
We're
go let
arguing
Robert
over
Rand.
something that
Let Robert
has
Rand go
nothing to
in,
do
man.
with us.
Let
No,
Robert
not,
Rand go in.
no. I just wanted to touch on that little discourse we had over there at the Sabir Bay show. I mean, it's kind of sad, man. You know, the sister supposedly is from Ethiopia, and she doesn't know the history. She doesn't even know her own history. I mean, she tried to use a biblical narrative. You know, I'm like, what? You talking about Moses and Abraham? What are you talking about? And how dare you try to postulate that Amharic is an original language, because it's not. And I tried to take them through linguistics, but they kept cutting me off. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know, man. With this Morris thing, I mean, we got to really. It's like what one of the brothers was saying. I mean, we want to be everything other than African. It's like, and you know, it's like some feel good. No, I don't get it. And you know, he had that white Arab dude on. Like that really pissed me off. Like, what do you have to do with this conversation? You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Why are you here? I didn't appreciate that. I'm trying to figure out what is the purpose of bringing that Arab, a white Arab, on. What is he supposed to represent? Like, I didn't get it. But basically, man, I don't understand what exactly he's trying to accomplish, other than trying to make money. Because you can bring up all those books, but that means nothing. What bringing up books for what? What are the? I mean, those sources are not legitimate. He just keeps bringing up the same thing over and over again, and he doesn't really answer questions, and he doesn't really allow you to respond to their inquiries. And like Sean said, they all over the place, you know. So it's kind of hard to really deal with him on his platform, because he's not going to let you really debunk his information. Because if you do that, he's going to lose money. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically all I got to say.
Yeah, man, that's exactly what I said too. If you come on his platform and show that he's incorrect, all these people that's been following him for all these years, giving him all this money, it's gonna look crazy. So he's not about to allow y'all to do that. You know what I'm
No, not at
saying?
all.
And I noticed that. I seen it. I seen when he kicked me off the first time. I went and started analyzing, just watching him. Every time he go live, just watch.
Oh yeah, look, toe. Like, what the hell are you talking about? What the, like? I wanted to curse out so bad. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Where's that in the glyphs at? Where's that in the metal netter at? Show me that.
Oh man, he got kicked off again. Yeah, man, he got this fetish.
Hey,
Go ahead, go in.
hey, I just wanted to speak on the language aspect too. You know, y'all know I get down with that, and like, it's one thing when you study in history, and you know, none of us have any of all 100% of the lanes down pat. Like, no one human being could possibly know all of the historical aspects, all of the archaeological aspects, right? And now, as of recently, where it applies, where all of the DNA evidence to back certain claims, it's just no way you can have it all, which is why it's important to be part of research teams and to be a part of research communities. Kofi Paisa research team is a research team that must exist in or around research communities. That's how we're formed. We all come from different parts of the conscious community, researching certain aspects of information, here trying to piece it together. And if you deny any one aspect that may apply to what you're talking about, in this case, it definitely applies, then your methodology is flawed right there by itself. Because how are these people communicating throughout history? And when do these people come about in our stories? Because we have written, documented evidence of a long time of history, thousands of years of history. And we ain't talking about Afro-Asiatic. We ain't talking about we Moors. We ain't talking about we Berbers. We ain't talking about being Islamic or none of that. We ain't talking about no Arabized words in our language. We have the languages. that predate the Arab language. So you can't deny existence. That in itself is racism, white supremacy, to deny an indigenous people's existence being there. You can't do that. And that's why it's dangerous with the information that they, teaching that and going live all the time, always on the internet talking that crap, because, our babies got to listen to this. They grew up in an era where parts of their history is just being flat out denied. And like with the sister, to not know your own story. I just wanted to add that 2 cents that's just racism, white supremacy right there, practicing that.
We see their flaws because they associate themselves through the Bible. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. You're relating your lineage back to Abraham and Moses. Like, you can't be serious. So what are you reading? I mean, I don't get it though.
And what T'Challa just was touching on is one of the main reasons why I started really doing what I do, because I see the racism and white supremacy underlying everything that's been pushed and how it's been pushed against us and how it's being used. This Moorish, this Hebrew.
Let me ask y'all a question.
Ahead.
I really couldn't really focus on what the Arab dude was saying. What was he specifically talking about? Because I was so angry. I was like, I just couldn't, you know what I mean? Because I really wanted to say some things to him, but I knew he was online.
I didn't hear too much of it. I only watched a few minutes because I had to get to work.
Did anybody catch what the Arab dude was what was he trying to postulate? What was his premise?
No, I ain't catch him. I ain't hear that part.
Yeah, he came on, and I don't know what he was talking about. Like,
but if he was a white Arab,
yeah, you got to check out the video. He's a white dude. Like, what are you in this for? Like, you got the whole Arab thing on.
If
like,
he was a white, the way I would look at it, Robert, would look at it, bro, is if he was a white Arab, is he saying that basically anybody could be a Muslim?
Well, that's
the only way I can look at it.
I thought like he was trying to establish Arabs came before the Africans, like the Arab culture came before the African culture. So, I was I wanted to be clear on it before I really went off on him. You know what I mean? And I really didn't get a chance because they, I had to respond to him, respond to her and Sabir Bey, and then they cut me off. So I kind of got lost in the sauce dealing with the white Arab dude, other than me getting angry and about to curse him out live.
So I got a question real quick. So if we see a person practicing a particular culture, right? There's a such thing as you being an African practicing Chinese culture, in which in of itself is nothing wrong with that, because I learned about Chinese history and culture. I learned about world history and culture, right? I'm interested in world history because it's all part of the story. So
I gotta step away. I'll be right back.
But just because we see a group of people practicing a particular culture at one point in time, that culture in that time does not define those people all throughout time and transcending anybody else's history. So Ethiopians of recent history may be majority practicing culture that doesn't originate on the continent and doesn't come from, other African traditions. It doesn't mirror other African traditions in some way. And I think we need to, when we research and when we learning about culture and language, we got to understand the difference between, like, you know, like in Igbo, good morning is ututu oma. In Malinke, it's inisoma. Okay. Malinke is definitely heavily Arabized. Mandinka. Wolof, heavily Arabized. It's got a whole lot, is basically Arab and indigenous African dialects that predate Arab language. And you can see that in the words and in the similarities
Let
from
me ask you a
Nigerian
question.
into Gaelic. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, let me ask you a question about that, T'Challa, because it just struck a nerve with me. I was just thinking when you say good morning in other languages. Um, I was just wondering, like, when they say good morning, like, is it the same meaning? Like, because all good morning is like you greet the first greeting to somebody in the morning, right? So when you say it in these other languages, does it mean the same thing as we use it over here? Because sometimes in language, like you know, it won't mean the same damn thing. You see what I'm saying? Like it won't like it'll have different meanings to it. So I was just wondering, like when you say those words in would you say Wolof or
So
the
you
other
have,
language?
so right. So here the answer to your question is yes. So a good morning. Now hold on. I'm not gonna say that every good morning in every language is always the same kind of good morning as modern English implications. No. But I'll give you a source right here on air. You know what I'm saying? Because this is what we do at Kofi Pasi Research Team. I sourced this in all of the volumes that I dealt with language, the Malinke dictionary. I can pull that up and put that in the back chat when I pull up the computer or whatever. But in the dictionary, it'll read, good morning. And as well as based on certain songs, West African songs and things like that. Like I deal with that part of West Africa. So I'm kind of entrenched in the semantic meanings and the implications of certain things, especially basics like good morning and stuff like that. That does match up. But to your point, there is always that on the other side of the coin that does not contradict the former, because in language, you have those semantic fields that evolve, right? It's not just one thing. It's not just the one type of good morning just because you learn about it in the dictionary. So there also are those other implications of certain greetings that they may not, like we might say, what's up? But a person that's never studied English, never learned English, is learning English, they're not going to recognize that as a greeting off the bat because they're taught a greeting is hello or hi, how are you doing? That's a formal greeting. So there's the quote unquote formal and informal.
Right. That may come off as offensive.
Right. And they'd be like, what's up? It's like, well, wait a minute. So I get what you're saying, Satep, but like that kind of stuff, like, and me and my girl studying Igbo together. So like, I'm kind of in that with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but what you're saying is definitely still true.
No, I wasn't more or less. I was asking a question. I wasn't making a statement. I was because I don't know. I was asking like, does it mean the same thing? I don't know. But yeah, that was good though. I just wanted to pick your brain on that little question there.
And I know Sean don't really deal with the religious aspect of the shit, but I think this book will help us out, help us all out. Because the book I got is coming from a historical and religious background, so it's taking the history that we know that we know can be proven, and it's taking the biblical story and it's putting it in its proper context. So it's putting all the proper people in the proper places where they belong and things like that. But it's also connecting the other religions that came out of Judaism. So Christianity and Islam. So it's going to break them all. So it's breaking them all down. Like I just got it today, and I've been reading it since I opened it this morning. I had to do a little bit of work, so I took a break, but I'm gonna be ready. I think I'm gonna be ready to present it in a couple of days. A full, thorough breakdown of it.
And one thing I noticed though, he always do is say, "What did they call us before the 1500s?" And I be thinking, yo, who gives a fuck what they call us? He never asked, what did we call ourselves? That would be tripping me out. What did they call us?
That's the key question. What
First
do
of all,
we
who
call
is they?
ourselves? What did our ancestors call themselves?
Exactly. That question never gets asked though. So you see where he at. You see where he at with it. More is an exonym, meaning a term given to a people by outsiders. So is Ethiopian, and he loved to harp on them two terms. We was Moors and Ethiopians before the 1500s. That's his answer. It's crazy. He never asked, what did these people call themselves? And the question that got me kicked off was, can you show me any West African tribes below the Sahara calling themselves Moors? I get kicked off.
Well, I see why you got kicked off. Asking him a question you know you don't have an answer to.
That's the point, though.
That's
Instead of being
a
genuine and saying, "Yo, I don't have the answer to that question," or "That's not an indigenous African term," or whatever. He gonna beat around the bush. I asked him that question. He took me all the way to black people in America killing each other in 3 sentences. Like,
damn.
bro, what?
Hey, he
That's a
loved
goal.
to go there.
That's a goalpost move.
He'd
That's a
love to
goalpost
go
move
there,
right there,
dog.
bro.
He loved going there. He always say that. That's his favorite line. Is I got shot by a black. I got shot by a black person over here in America. I'm like, oh man, here we go with
That's
this one.
because you live in a black community. Who's supposed to do it? Who's supposed to do it? You gonna do violence? You gonna commit crimes towards the people that are in your surrounding area, the people that you feel comfortable with. That's the same thing for white people, bro. That's such a European white boy ass argument.
Right. It's like
Man. And you know how long I've been saying that?
yeah, it's
I've
like
been
whenever
saying this since I've go ahead, my fault.
I was gonna say it's like whenever somebody somebody robbed you or somebody done stole something out your house, it's not somebody that you don't know. It's somebody that you know or that you done had up in there before. Like, because they know where everything at, or at least they got a faint idea where some shit at. So it's like, that's a weak argument, not suit Sabir. That's real weak to try to say, oh yeah, this all happened to me by black people. I got shot by a black person. I got robbed by a black person. And this, and that. Like that's just disingenuous. Because like you said, Sute, you live in an all black community. Ain't no white man gonna come out of his fucking neighborhood and rob black people in their community. And you rarely find black people going to rich neighborhoods and doing it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that it
Yeah.
don't happen, but it is rare though. Because as soon as you get seen walking on the street, they blowing down on you. So yeah, go ahead.
And, and that's something that I studied in psychology. I mean in sociology. And I took 3 sociology courses, and 2 of them was because my study of emphasis was African American or Black studies. I took 2 sociology courses with Black emphasis that was mainly focused on Black sociology and how things were structured in the Black community. And in all those sociology classes, it was taught and it was shown that crime will be committed in proximity. So Latinos committed crimes amongst Latinos, whites amongst whites, Asians amongst Asians, blacks amongst blacks. So those arguments really, like you just said, and even Hebrews use them. I've had Hebrews use those arguments, and I've had Asiatic black men use that argument against me. I've had a lot of people use those arguments against me, and every time I bring it up, it's like they don't seem to acknowledge it or understand that. It's like it's like they want to argue that the crime was committed by a black person and not a white person or a person of another race, and we should be focusing on the crime in our community, which we are by addressing the things that we address. You know, it's so crazy that the subtleties of the things that we do, people don't really catch, you know? How everything that we do on these platforms that you brothers were doing before I even knew any of y'all, you know, has other connections, you know, has extensions beyond just this platform. If the information is dissected and then ingested and used correctly, you know, it's just crazy that our people are more prone to follow doctrine instead of sound, valid information, you know? Doctrine, something that makes you feel good.
Yeah, that come from slavery though. You know, our people was, you know, we've been trained and indoctrinated, so it ain't nothing that's gonna happen. You can't just get up out of it overnight. A lot of us still gonna be stuck. So, you know, when you doing the sociology and shit, because I went to school for psychology as well, you know, you learn train pattern behaviors and all that shit. Done by you know, them German scientists and shit. They teach you all that shit. So, you know, a lot
Yeah,
of that shit.
classical conditioning and all that shit.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, that's gonna be in us still. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. It's just trained conditioning. It's gonna take a while to break that. It's gonna take a couple
Yeah, it's
generations.
gonna take. Yeah. Like I said, we y'all been doing this shit before I came around, so all I can do is just, you know, shout y'all out and, you know, continue to learn, continue to absorb the information that y'all been giving out, you know, and hope others can do the same. Because it's information like this is what that's going to help us break the chain, you know, change our thinking, get it to where, get it to a place where we see each other as value. We see the value in each other than just a dollar. Feel me? We see the humanity in each other. Once we get there, then you can say the healing has actually begun. It's just the groundwork.
Hey, y'all see what the chat say? CJ, aka. How much of our history do you brothers know?
About 150,000 years ago.
Wow for that.
Hey, I don't know.
150,000 years ago.
Somebody might be putting something out on that soon, man. Just stay tuned, bro.
Right.
I mean, what's I don't get it. Like, what went on 150,000 years ago that we need to be privy to?
Right. There's a lot that happened.
all over the world. Like, there's a lot happening now. I mean, just because you mentioned one aspect of knowledge that we talking about having one conversation, we don't have to know all about. You know what I mean? And this is not an attack to CJ because I don't know what was being implied, but I've I've had that question asked in other contexts and other social platforms and mentioning about, like, for instance, one form of combat, and it's like I don't have to talk about every martial art just because I mention one martial art. And it kind of irritates me when you can't even comment on a YouTube comment or anything where it's like you have to know everything about every aspect of the history because you're discussing history. Like, okay, we talking about Moors and how we not them in our history. Why do we need to go back 150,000 years?
Hey, that's when you find the development of the Moorish flag. Hey, I think I heard one of them say the Moorish flag was like 10,000 years old, bro. I think they said it was older than that, bro. I was like, wow. And I know that
Ridiculous.
you were saying, CJ, I'm just cracking jokes.
Damn.
Jamel said he was just cheerleading. You know what I'm saying?
Man, just cheerleading. That's sad.
Yeah, man. So we probably get on up out of here, man. If ain't nobody else gonna hop on, probably drop the link in there one more time.
Yeah, I'm finna finish attacking this book, y'all.
Sean started the stream and then hopped off on the ass.
Sean be on all types of shit.
That's crazy though. I knew it was him on the panel before he even spoke. I was like, that's Sean. You know, I hopped his ass on there. Got kicked out quick.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, but nah, CJ, if you got volume 3, we get into them dates and what was going on in them time periods. Because I see your follow-up question about when did our civilization begin and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we definitely speak on some of that, and I got some upcoming publications about, well, not that far back, but dealing with some time periods in the latter part of human history. So yeah, go ahead and get that volume 3, man. We talking about it.
I'm gonna make sure I get me a couple of them in a couple of days. Give them to my great nephew. And I'm gonna get them cards.
Yeah, man. So
Couple of
get
days.
up out of here, man. Peace to everybody that came through. Peace, Sister Omega Courtney. Peace, Brother CJ. Peace, Brother Robert Rand. Mika. Peace, Sister
Peace, fam.
Ladosha. Peace, Brother Jamel. Peace, man. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Anybody else I missed, man. We'll get up out of here. Until next time, I'm going to play y'all out.
Log in to KofiPaisaTV.com and get Spears of the Mossy Volume 1 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, from Spears the Pen Volume 2 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, Spiritual Combat Volume 3 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, One Night Before Bed by Any Haret Shun Calfunny, Kalawa's Trip to the Motherland by Kofi Paisa, From Cocaine to Consciousness by Any Haret Shun Calfunny, As I Learned, We All Learn by Kofi Paisa. Also, if you want fresh merch, go to our online store, Family Connect Apparel, and get all the brands. Also, get our 54 deck of quiz and educational cards available now on KofiPaisaTV.com.